together with friends along the way, united with strength to face the day. We're together and now we're here to say, united we will be the change.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Above and Beyond the Accessibility and Inclusion Podcast Shorts. We are talking the 12 days of the AODA, January 1st, 2025. We are going to be fully accessible.
Yay! You forgot to give a warning, so now I'm just doing a flaccid reaction.
Joining me as always is Maddy Dever.
Hello.
Maddy, how are you, friend?
I am good. It's I think today is day 6. Does that make it Christmas Day or is it Boxing Day? I don't know. We're doing a time travel here, so it's always confusing. The day that we're on and the day that we're recording and the day that it's going to be posted. It's fun.
We're looking back and we're looking way ahead. We are on day 6, and on the 6th day before the AODA became barrier-free, the Ford government did not give to me technology.
Dun dun dun.
Technology that meets my needs, technology that meets your needs, Maddy. What's going on with technology? We're back there.
Well, yeah. I mean, technology is a vast. There's a vast amount of technology needs that different people with different disabilities require. If we're talking about those with vision, low vision issues, who are blind, there's a need for everything online to follow web accessible standards, and we're trying our best to hold to that ourselves on this podcast, this channel. Technology needs to be. I think when it comes to technology, I experienced a year of extreme low vision because I had a cataract that just brought my vision down to very minimal. I got a cataract surgery in April, massive on one eye, massive change. I can see things better than I could 30 years ago. But my left eye, I see I see color and I see shapes, and that's it. So I learned pretty well firsthand the challenges of being in meetings when there's projectors that have slides on it that I can't see. I experienced it on the web trying to read things. I basically had to put my head right into the screen to be able to see things. And one of the challenges that I realized is we really need to make sure that we use proper contrast when we have when we have fonts on backgrounds. And these are all things that there's accessibility standards. And what do I see the role of a government to do? To provide education, to provide tools, and to enforce the standards that exist that would make the lives of people that have these disabilities much more improved. You can't have quality of life when you're not included, and you're not included when their means of participating are held back from you.
Yeah, no, and without question, Maddy, and we're talking about different types of contrast. We're talking about different kinds of navigating a PDF, for example, navigating a page using a screen reader, using accessible technology that allows our strengths to be at the forefront. I can honestly say that this past year, Maddy, with the evolution of AI, that's also been a technology that's brought to the forefront a much more simplistic approach. But I've always felt that up until this point of AI, a lot of technology, and we were even just talking about this before we started this talk, about it being user friendly.
Yeah.
About doing things that allow for ease of use.
Yeah. So AI has always existed as long as we've had computer technology. Google, even before we started talking about AI specifically, was an AI. Siri is an AI. All of the tools, all of the search engines we've ever used is an AI. We didn't really call it that. Well, the difference now is the generative AI, where we can use more human language to have the computer construct things for us, instead of trying to phrase things the way a computer thinks to be able to get the results. And the results that are given in a more presentation ready way, rather than a list of links to go and get more information. So it's which is why for the last 3 years, as we've talked about AI coming in more into the popular domain. I've like stayed away from it because it was like it just seemed very early and cheesy and whatnot. But I've seen some of the results over the last 6 months, and I myself have started to dabble a little bit into AI. Although, okay, so I asked ChatGPT 2 3 weeks ago to list the 10 most recent female premiers of provinces in Canada, and it gave me a list, but it did not have Catherine Wynne, and it didn't have a few others. And I say, name the female premiers of Ontario, and it said there has never been one.
Okay.
A day or two later, I asked the same question and I got different results. And that's one of the things, like, technology is great, but new technology, you really got to be careful for. I mean, right now, this whole series that we're doing on the AODA, the 12 days of AODA, I'm using some AI software to help generate some of the shorts that you're seeing, as well as to generate the notes from the show that does a summary, that does some key points. That is a huge time saver. It's taken hours out of my life, giving me back hours of my life as I try to do all the putting this together. The live captions, the captions that you're seeing on the screen. I would have had an extreme. I used to do this with some of my short videos. I used to spend the time putting captions on each thing, and these are things that are all done that AI. These are the areas where AI sort of does a good job. I mean, still, I have to, edit a few words. Like, it keeps wanting to call me Maddy with an I and an E, and Matt T with two T's. And when you see the captions for this, you'll see it spelled the way I said it, not the way I want it to be. Yeah. Anyway, so there are some tweaks, but AI does make my life a lot easier for some of the things that I do. There's always a balance.
There's always the drawbacks to it. As I think about it too, Maddie, in my life, the technologies that I use with the Google Homes, as I know you use Google Home as well,
Absolutely.
they do make our lives easier when they work properly. Having a substantiated Wi-Fi to
Huh.
eradicate all these little, I don't know what you said,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I
And
don't understand.
and when we're relying on technology, we're also relying on its availability. Like, we're relying on the internet being there and being of good strength to be able to put video out as well as to do all the processing it does. So accessibility really right now, unfortunately, when it comes to the technology, where you live makes a big difference. If you're out rural 5 minutes from here, you're in a cell phone dead zone, and there's no high speed internet except through these sort of satellite things, which are costly. And so I lived out rural for about 5 years and ran a technology company, and it was, to get the internet in was expensive, and even then it wasn't all that great. And I with the things that I take for granted in doing this podcast and doing the other thing, the advocacy work that I do, would be significantly more challenging if I lived out rural, and that's an equity problem.
Yeah, without question, Maddie, that is an equity problem, and giving people with disabilities the tools that we need to thrive is something that in technology, we seem to the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. I don't want to use
Yeah,
that cliche, but it most certainly
yeah,
exists,
yeah.
and we've got to find that balance because people with disabilities can do the job. People with disabilities require technology, even
Hmm.
in door openers, for example.
Yeah. Door openers are wheelchairs are accessibility issues. I see a lot of hope in the augmented reality place to allow people to see a wider sphere of things and participate more where they can't necessarily, either because of physical disabilities and their mobility challenge, or visual impairments that can be enhanced. Like, you know what? We know that, even in Star Trek, Star Trek Next Generation, disabilities existed in the future, but the accommodations. Jordi LaForge, the chief engineer, was blind. He had a visor over his eyes to enhance the fields of things that he could do, even though he couldn't see in the same, three dimensions that we take for granted. And I love the fact that they included that, because disability, again, we've talked about this before, Disability is about barriers, and what we need are accommodations, and what we need are, acceptance that there are differences in the way we do things. But we can do them when we are accommodated, which is all about accessibility.
Yeah, really in life, Maddie, and we'll end off here. Disability is really not a possibility anymore,
Yeah.
but an inevitability. In some
Yep.
shape or form, people do experience disability, and it's how we find our own way and accommodations to attain and maintain the quality of life we had pre disability, and or even post disability, or even if it's a temporary disability. There's always finding the need to make something work, and quite frankly, the utilization of technology really makes life easier for many people. But for people with disabilities, it also makes life equitable.
Yeah.
Let's
So
end this conversation here, Maddie. Or
let's
do you
just
have anything else to
one
add?
last thing. So bringing it right back to the beginning, what do we need from government? We need to enforce accessibility standards for technology.
And on that note, guys, thanks a lot for listening and watching us here on Above and Beyond the Accessibility and Inclusion podcast. Okay, we're on to the next one. Maddie, hit the music.
Together with friendly